Jesus came to a place where he had a kinsman and stayed with him, but on the second day a large crowd gathered outside, so it was impossible to remain at peace. These kinsfolk were quiet people, whose lives followed a tranquil course, for they conformed to the pattern of life imposed upon them. Hearing the clamor of the crowd, they became agitated, and said, "Surely Jesus must be out of his mind, and we should put restraint on him, otherwise we will be ridiculed." Just then some important men from Jerusalem spoke to them, and they said among themselves, "This thing is now beyond our control, but surely we shall never live normal lives again." The men from Jerusalem said to some people standing outside the doorway, "Go away. This man is possessed by the king of evil spirits, and calls on him for help when casting out his subjects." Hearing this, Jesus called to the men from Jerusalem, asking them to come outside to where he was. Then he asked them, "Can evil cast out evil?" They said, "On this point we have no clear guidance." Jesus said, "Surely if a kingdom is divided against itself, it must collapse. Likewise, a household split internally soon falls apart. If evil powers counteract each other, are they not like men in an army who fall upon each other with swords, thereby rendering the army ineffective? Set evil in action against evil, and nothing except good can result." Jesus then went into the house and told those inside he was going to the temple in that place. And one said, "The clothes you wear are travel-stained. Will you enter the house of God in these?" Jesus replied, "When guests call upon a nobleman's house, they must be fittingly attired. But when workmen call to make repairs, they enter in the clothes of their trade." Jesus spoke to the people in the temple, saying, "The Perushim occupy the seats of the prophets, and should therefore be obeyed. In general, they live good lives, and you would do well to follow their example. But with many the goodness is only on the outside, and they are rotten in. Therefore, by exposing these, I serve those who are really good. I tell you, beware of hypocrites, self-deceivers and liars, and to be constantly on guard against those who, in the name of righteousness, would mislead you. When inspired to become the voice of God, the prophet spoke of these, for he said, 'They praise me with their mouth and give homage with their lips, but I am not in their hearts. They worship only because this has been their upbringing. Such as these do not worship God because they are good, but for the sake of reward and through fear of the unknown. These are people against whom I have set my face, for their goodness is fair outside, but rotten at the core. There are others who dig in the darkness, hoping their thoughts are unknown. They delve around in the filth within themselves and say, 'This is pleasant, and none sees what we do.' But the record of their thoughts is never lost. Yet these, concealing what lies within, set themselves up as leaders of the people, who, finding their troubles multiplied, look vainly for the cause. Yet people only get their leaders they deserve, for those who will only serve goodness cannot be misled by evil. There are misguiders who lead the people along devious paths which can never end in contentment. They produce dove's eggs to the people, but when hatched in secret, these produce vipers. They fawn upon the rich and notorious, a smile on their face and a dagger in their hearts, but to the underprivileged they turn a face of hardness. The hypocrites, the self-deceivers, and the self-centered are the minions of evil on earth, and they are the true enemy opposing the coming of the rule of God. Let them maintain the upper hand, and you will never know the joys of a reborn world. Turn your backs on these wherever you find them, so your contempt is made manifest. But remember, they will be found in the most unexpected places. Beware of the self-seekers, whose path is over the bodies of those they drag down. If you associate with them, you may become a cobblestone for their feet. Avoid the tangled thicket of money dealing, lest the spiders therein lure you into their webs and suck you dry. The self-seekers are blind to obligations of life, supposing these to be a profitless burden. But I tell you that anyone who shoulders them courageously and cheerfully will be duly rewarded. The cross of life is not easy to bear, for it chafes and weighs down heavily. But unless a man sacrifice himself upon it, he shall not rise to glory. Do not seek directions for an easy path, for this is not difficult to find, though it has no destination. Follow the harder one. The directions are given in the holy books, and at the end you will find sunlit meadows and a region of liveliness. I say to you, come, take up my cross and bear it manfully, and I will not leave you unsupported. I teach the strengthening of the spirit in men through purification, repentance, and good deeds. The trials of life are many, and take numerous forms, some being easily understood for what they are, but others coming in the guise of gifts are not so readily detected. This is what the prophet said about those who failed to rise above the test of life. Their cuttings will not take root, the winds of God will blow upon them, and they will wither and be borne away by the whirlwind. A coward lies to those who trust him, for he fears the anger of others. A liar is also a coward, for he follows a path better men would scorn. I have come to winnow the grain from the chaff. Those who follow me, bearing the burden of my cross, must not be half-hearted in the cause. I separate the sheep from the goats, accepting one and rejecting the other, and a sheep does not mate with a goat. I accept the truthful man. He is peaceful within himself, and whatever is sown in truthfulness will be reaped in content. I have not come to point out the place where a treasure trove is hidden, but to tell of its existence. The search remains with you. Nevertheless, I give directions, which, if followed, cannot fail to uncover it. For is it not written, if you desire knowledge as men desire gold, and seek truth with the diligence men display when seeking treasure, you will not be denied knowledge of God. Lay up treasures in the storehouse of eternity, and enjoy them forever. Hoarded silver can only buy pleasure which quickly palls, or things which endure a little while before falling apart or decaying. Only the treasures laid up in heaven will ensure everlasting glory. Keep these things always in mind, for if my words have fallen on barren ground, they are wasted. Spread out your roots in the sustaining soil of the new light I bring you, and when the plant of faith grows, do not let it be smothered by worldly weeds. Maintain cheerfulness in your heart, and its reflection will lighten your countenance, and, smiling, you will be welcome wherever you go. Go your ways, but beware of those who speak fairly, but hold deceit in their hearts. Beware of hypocrites and deceivers. It is no sin to be blind, but to disguise the blindness and say, "We see, follow us," is one of the greatest evils.